You know that feeling when you realize you've been doing something risky for years and you just sort of got lucky?
Oh, yeah.
That moment where the adrenaline hits you and you think, okay, we need to fix this before it breaks?
The oh no moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the vibe of the documents we're looking at today. It starts with an email sent at like 2 in the morning.
Hmm.
The CEO of the Blossom Society, or TBS, is awake, looking at their liability insurance, looking at their community guidelines, and just realizing they are walking a tightrope.
And for context, the Blossom Society isn't just a dating app. It's a coaching-led community for ethical non-monogamy.
Right.
So they have high standards, but they also deal with very intimate, very complex human behaviors.
And the CEO's realization is this: how do we handle the topic of sexual health and testing, which is crucial for this community, without accidentally becoming a medical service?
Yeah, because if they cross that line, they are basically one bad lawsuit away from closing down.
It's a massive problem. And we've got a stack of internal memos here between the head of coaching, the marketing director, and the COO.
And they're all debating this one central metaphor, the swim lane.
I love this metaphor. Everyone keeps asking, what is our swim lane?
It's the perfect way to frame it, isn't it?
Yeah,
In a business like this, you want to be helpful. You want to keep people safe.
of course.
But the moment you drift out of your lane, say, from coaching into medical advice, you are in deep, deep trouble.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We're going to unpack how an organization builds a policy that balances, kindness and clarity with these really strict legal boundaries. And I think we have to start with the coaching team because they're the first ones to respond to this 2.0 a.m. panic.
Right. The head of coaching responds immediately. And they draw a very hard line. They say TBS is in the business of harm reduction and communication competency.
Communication competency, that sounds a little bit corporate, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
In this context, it's actually kind of radical. The head of coaching is saying, we are not doctors.
Right.
We are not here to tell you what tests to take or how to interpret a lab result. We're here to teach you how to have the awkward conversation about it.
Which, honestly, is the part most people fail at. I mean, you can go to a clinic and get a test. That's just logistics.
So,
Looking someone in the eye and saying, here is my status. What is yours? That is terrifying.
it is. And the memos lay out a really specific list of do's and don'ts for the coaches.
Yeah.
And the don'ts are fascinating because they go against what you might expect.
Yeah, let's get into that. You'd think a responsible E&M platform would say, hey, everyone, go get tested every 3 months.
That feels like good advice.
It feels like the right advice. But the head of coaching puts that on the don't list. Why?
Because it reads like a prescription.
Yeah.
If TBS says test every 3 months, they're acting like a medical authority. What if that window isn't right for someone's specific lifestyle? What if someone follows that advice but catches something in between? If the platform gave the advice, the platform is liable.
So by trying to be helpful, they actually create all this legal risk.
Exactly. So instead, they focus on the don'ts: coaching consent, coaching boundaries,
Okay.
and my favorite one, coaching how to handle a no.
That is vital. If I say, I need you to wear protection, and you say no, what happens next?
Right. Do you shame them? Do you try to coerce them? Or do you just respect the no and disengage?
And TBS is trying to teach the latter.
They want users to see a mismatch in health practices, just like a mismatch in movie taste. It's not a moral failing, it's just a compatibility issue.
Speaking of moral failings, there is one phrase the coaching team flags as a major red flag.
Oh, yeah.
They explicitly want to stomp out the phrase, I'm clean.
This is a huge point in the memos.
Yeah.
They want to challenge that language every single time it pops up.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a minute, though. I'm clean is just shorthand. People say it all the time to mean, I don't have anything. Why is that such a problem?
2 reasons. First, the stigma. If you say you're clean, you're implying that anyone with an STI is dirty.
Right, terrible framing.
It's terrible framing for a sex-positive community. But the second reason is just practical. I'm clean is medically useless.
How so?
It doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell me when you were tested. It doesn't tell me what you were tested for.
Or the window period.
It doesn't tell me about your window period, the time between exposure and when a test can actually detect something. I'm clean is often a way to shut down the conversation, not start it.
So the coaching team wants to replace that shorthand with specifics. I was tested for X on this date.
Precision. That is what they're coaching. Precision is safer than these vague reassurances.
Now, this isn't just a suggestion they make in a blog post, is it? They're actually integrating this into their single men pathway.
Right, their whole vetting process.
I found this really interesting. It's treated as a pass-fail metric. The memo says sexual health minimization is a critical fail.
A critical fail.
But how do they actually test that? Do they give them a written quiz or something?
It's more subtle.
Yeah.
They use role-play scenarios during the vetting call. The screener might pose a situation where a hypothetical partner asks about testing.
Okay, so like role play with me, I'm your date, ask me about my status.
Exactly. And if the potential member says, oh, I don't need to do that, I know I'm clean, or if they try to laugh it off or say, don't be paranoid.
Fail, immediate fail.
Fail, immediate fail. Even if they're a great guy, good job, perfect profile, if they brush off the safety talk, they're out.
Wow.
Because TBS isn't looking for medical stats. They're looking for attitude.
Mm-hmm.
If you get defensive about safety conversations, you are a liability to the community.
Okay, so the coaches are focused on skills. Now let's pivot to the marketing director.
Right.
Because you can have the strictest policy in the world, but if you market it like a medical textbook, nobody is going to join. It just kills the vibe.
The branding challenge is huge.
Yeah.
How do you talk about STIs and testing without making people feel like they're in a doctor's waiting room?
So the marketing director immediately rejects the term STI policy.
Hates it. Says it sounds too punitive.
Instead, they propose responsible intimacy or sexual health conversations.
It's a shift from policing disease to facilitating connection. And that aligns with the broader ethos they keep mentioning in the marketing memos.
Which is?
Women are sovereign.
I saw that phrase pop up multiple times, women are sovereign. It sounds empowering, but what is the practical function of that phrase in a safety policy?
It's about rewriting the social script.
Yeah.
In a lot of dating environments, especially for women, there's this pressure to be the cool girl.
Uh-huh.
The girl who is easygoing, who doesn't make a fuss, who doesn't kill the mood by asking to see test results.
Right. You don't want to be the buzzkill.
Exactly. TBS is trying to flip that. By framing it as sovereignty, they're saying that stating your boundaries isn't being difficult, it's being a queen. It's a status signal.
So they want to create an environment where stating a boundary makes you look strong, not annoying.
That's it. It's smart positioning. And they identify a specific target audience for this message.
A curious cohort.
These are the people taking their first steps into ethical non-monogamy. They're likely terrified. They're worried about their reputation, their health, their emotions.
If you hit those people with a 10-page legal document about diseases, they are going to run for the hills.
Right. They need guidance, not a lecture. The marketing director calls TBS the gold standard of education. They want emotional maturity to be the product they're selling. So the message isn't, we will protect you from bad things. It's, we will teach you how to handle complex things.
Aspirational safety. I like that. But,
yeah.
Okay, here is where the record scratches. The coaches are happy, marketing is happy, but then the COO walks into the room.
The voice of doom.
Or reality. The COO is looking at all the hidden risks, and they drop this concept of duty creep. Now, I have to be honest, duty creep sounds like a bad bureaucrat. What does it actually mean here?
Okay, think of duty creep like fixing a leak in a rented apartment.
Right.
The moment you pick up the wrench and start tightening a pipe, you own that pipe. If it bursts 5 minutes later, it is your fault because you touched it.
Okay, so you took ownership.
You took ownership. And the COO is arguing that if TBS starts verifying test results, say asking users to upload a PDF of their lab report, they are picking up the wrench.
Hold on, I have to push back here. As a user, if I am paying for a premium community, don't I want them to pick up the wrench?
You would think so.
Why shouldn't they verify results? It seems like an easy win to have a verified safe badge.
It seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? But look at the liability. If TBS puts a verified badge on your profile, they are effectively certifying that you are biologically safe. They are making a promise.
But the test results are right there.
The test results from when? A test you took on Monday doesn't account for the partner you slept with on Tuesday.
Or the window period for an infection you caught 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Biology is messy. If the app gives you a green check mark, you stop asking questions. You just assume the app has done the work for you.
And that false sense of security is dangerous.
It's incredibly dangerous. And if you catch something from a verified user, you turn around and sue the app. You say, you told me they were safe. The COO is saying, we cannot technically keep that promise, so we must not make it.
That brings us to the data problem. The whole GDPR nightmare.
Oh, this is the nuclear option of data.
The memo mentions special category data.
Under GDPR and other privacy laws, health data is. It's radioactive. You can't just store it in a spreadsheet next to someone's email address.
Why not?
Because if you get hacked, or if a disgruntled employee leaks it, the damage is catastrophic. You need bank-level encryption, specific access logs, immediate deletion protocols.
Wow.
The COO looks at this and says, we're a coaching company, not a hospital. Why are we trying to store radioactive material?
So if they had a little field on the profile that said, last tested, Jan 1st, even that little text box is a legal landmine.
Massive. It creates a compliance burden that would cost a fortune to manage correctly. And again, for what benefit? If the data is self-reported, it's unreliable. If it's verified, it's a liability trap.
And there's a darker side the COO brings up too, weaponization.
Yeah, this part was chilling.
They talk about the risk of sexual health accusations being used for defamation.
In a tight-knit community, reputation is everything. Imagine if someone gets rejected, gets angry, and goes onto the public forum, the hive mind,
Oh no.
and posts, watch out for user X, they have herpes.
Even if it's true, that's a huge privacy violation. And if it's a lie,
It's defamation. And TBS is hosting the content. So the COO says they need strict moderation tools. They can't allow the hive mind to become a pillory.
so how do they handle it? They can't just ban the topic of health, right?
They use moderator macros.
Okay.
It's basically a panic button for the moderators.
Okay.
If a conversation starts drifting into medical advice, like, hey, does this rash look normal? Or accusations, a moderator steps in with a pre-written, legally approved script.
Which says what?
Basically, we do not provide medical advice. Please consult a professional. We are closing this thread
Shuts it down.
instantly. It keeps the community from drifting out of its swim lane. It's automated boundaries.
So we have all these competing interests. Coaching wants conversation. Marketing wants sovereignty. Ops wants to avoid lawsuits.
And the CEO has to make the final call.
The direction set.
And the decision is a masterclass in compromise. They decide that the guidance will live in 3 places, but the responsibility stays with the user.
Okay, where does it live?
First, the tool shed. This is their deep dive learning area. This is where the scripts live. This is where they teach you how to have the talk.
Second, the FAQ.
Public-facing, calm, disclaimer-heavy. We are not doctors.
And third, the hive mind, but with those strict guardrails we just mentioned.
But the most important part of the decision is what they rejected.
No badges.
No verification markers. No profile inputs for test results.
It really is a hard line. They looked at the option to add a safety badge and just said no.
And the CEO gives 3 pillars for why. 1, it aligns with the ethos that education precedes engagement.
Right.
2, it reduces harm by normalizing the conversation rather than outsourcing it to an app. And 3, it minimizes risk by keeping them out of the medical data business.
It puts the responsibility back on the user, which is kind of scary.
It is. We live in a world where we want technology to solve human problems. We want the app to tell us who is safe. We want the green check mark.
And TBS is saying, we can't give you that check mark. Nobody can.
So if you're on this app, you can't hide behind the interface. You actually have to talk to people.
That connects back to the single men pathway role play we talked about.
Exactly. They are filtering for people who are willing to do that work. If you're looking for a shortcut to intimacy where you don't have to talk about the messy stuff, this isn't the platform for you.
You know, it's funny. We started with a CEO panicking about legal landmines, but where they landed actually feels wiser.
It does. By admitting what they can't do, which is play doctor, they got much, much better at what they can do, which is help people connect respectfully.
This is a lesson for anyone dating today, isn't it? Not just in E&M communities.
Absolutely. We keep waiting for an app to save us. We think if we just find the right platform with the right verification, we won't get hurt.
But looking at these memos, the conclusion is stark. There is no app for courage.
There is no app for courage. I like that. You still have to have the awkward talk. You still have to set the boundary.
It reminds me of that phrase from the marketing memo, education precedes engagement. The solution wasn't technology, it was human skill.
And that is a lesson that applies way beyond just this one app. In almost any complex human interaction, clarity and kindness are usually better safeguards than rigid rules or technological patches.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a thought. We live in a world that is obsessed with verification. Blue checks on social media, background checks for dates, credit checks for apartments. We want guarantees.
But intimacy, by its very definition, requires vulnerability. You can't verify your way out of vulnerability.
Exactly. So here's the provocative thought for you to chew on. In a world demanding verification and safety badges is the most radical safety feature. Actually, just the ability to look someone in the eye and have a difficult conversation.
Maybe true safety isn't data. Maybe it's courage.
And the vocabulary to use it. Thanks for diving deep with us today. See you next time.